Imagine closing your first high-ticket AI clients without any case studies, without a big personal brand, and without begging people to get on a call with you. Most people overcomplicate client acquisition. They build websites, funnels, and a LinkedIn profile just to get ghosted. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to get your first client using AI, even if you're starting from scratch. And I'm going to be doing it live, so you can copy every step of the way. Whether you sell AI agents, automations, content, software, it doesn't matter, this is going to work. Pay close attention because this can change your life. And let's jump straight into the video.
Okay, let's start the timer. So I want to get straight to the point, no messing around. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to pick a niche, how to find a burning pain point in that niche, how to build a one-sentence offer to actually present to the market, to be able to get positive replies, to be able to get appointments, things like that. I'll show you how to build the back-end mechanisms, how to price your offer. I'll show you how to find underexposed leads that haven't been messaged before by other agencies. I'll show you how to automate outreach on every single channel. And then I'll show you how to make the sales process 100 times easier. So when you jump on sales calls, it's going to be a walk in the park. And then I'll show you how to actually onboard and deliver. And I'm going to try and do this in less than 10 minutes. So I'll go through this. But it's very important to note that I am actually going to be doing some live workflows as well. As you can see on the right, we have some SMS workflows. I'll probably do some cold emails, and I want to be as transparent as possible and actually show you the results that we get from those campaigns. So let's jump straight into it, no messing about. How do you pick a niche? When you're starting from scratch, you probably have no experience, you probably have no idea what you're doing, and very easily, I would just go onto ChatGPT and I would ask ChatGPT to ask you 5 questions to help you pick a niche for your AI offer. It's as simple as that. I would personally just go with an industry that you've had some experience in the past. So if you've worked a 9 to 5, if you have had a job in a certain industry, whether that be real estate, whether that be law, go for that industry. Now, on the other hand, if you have a friend maybe who owns a business that can give you a foot in the door, and maybe you could build a solution, an AI solution for him for free, go into that niche. So it's just about finding opportunities, and I think that is what I would do if I started again. So for this video, we're going to be working with home service companies. Now, me personally, I don't actually know that much about home service companies and HVAC companies, but once again, I'm going to show you the entire process and what I would do if I had to start again from scratch. So you can see that we've already, been almost 2 minutes in. So let's get into the second thing. So hopefully that just explains niche selection though. Don't overthink it. Just pick a niche in 5 minutes, to be honest, because the whole point of this is we're going to be validating as soon as possible our offer to the market. So how to find a burning pain point in that niche is very simple. Once again, use AI. Literally use AI for everything. It's called the IQ of Einstein. I don't know why you wouldn't do this, but you can see here that I just asked it to give me 5 of the deepest problems in the home service niche that they face on a daily basis, and you can see it gave me 5 problems that we can essentially mold an offer around, because you shouldn't be selling what you want, you should be selling what the market wants. So you can see the first one is basically missed leads, which makes sense because if they are working a job, if they're installing a roof, if they're doing solar installation, if they're doing HVAC installation, whether that be heating and so forth, they're going to be missing potential leads, because how their customer journey goes, from my understanding, is customers or prospects in the area would go onto Google, they would search for roofing companies, and obviously SEO is a massive part of that to make sure they rank highly, but they would just go with one of the top ones and they would call them up, try and get a quote, and if they're working a job, they're not going to answer the phone. So that's a potential lead they miss out on, and they are aware of this. And when someone buys a solution, they must be obviously problem aware, meaning they understand that. They must be solution aware, meaning they understand that you have a solution to solve that. And the other 3, things which you should know, because I highly recommend checking out Eugene Schwartz's 5 levels of awareness, and that will help you understand why people actually buy stuff in the first place. But nonetheless, let's go with this one. So what do we need to do? Well, we simply need to build a one-sentence offer around this pain point. So what I did was I basically asked ChatGPT to do that once again. So you can see it gave me a rough outline right here. So we help home service owners convert missed calls into booked jobs using an AI voice sales rep. But once again, I wanted it to be a bit better. So I said make it a lot shorter and remove the part after the first sentence to make it a bit shorter, tighter, and just more impactful, if that makes sense. So we have the final results right here, and this is what I'm going to be working with when it comes to the cold email campaign, the SMS campaign, and if you were to call leads, which is what I'd recommend doing, because your main advantage when you're starting out is you have time. Like right now, you probably, maybe in college, maybe you work a 9 to 5, but you still have a few hours to be able to just call these owners, have a chill conversation, just say that you're installing an AI sales rep into their business, for cheap, or you could say on a performance offer. We'll get to that right now, but hopefully that makes sense. You need a one sentence offer that is mapped around that niche's pain points. We are almost 5 minutes in, so I want to speed this up. Now, in terms of back-end mechanisms, once you have a niche, which you should obviously have, once you have a pain point in that niche, once you have a one sentence offer, you need to essentially build system proof, which is you having the internal confidence to be able to present this to the market, which is very important. So I don't recommend just selling something you have no idea how to build. You want to have system proof, which is you at least going through the process yourself. So what that could look like is if you're building an AI voice agent, just build one. Use Vapi with High Level as the CRM. Just build it, because you need to develop system proof. Or maybe you could build it on an A10, you could build it on Simflow. You get the point, but you need to quickly, within 24 hours, learn how to build this, and that should give you the internal competence to be able to present it to the market. So hopefully, yeah, you would have done that, which is very important, and you can build an asset around it. So once you've installed it and you've tested it with yourself, you've had a conversation with it, you made sure it works, just record a 5-minute video of yourself walking through how it works, and that can be used later down the road in the actual sales process to pre-nurture leads before you actually meet them on a sales call, which is very important, because if you're going to be running any type of cold outbound funnel, the problem is that the sales cycle is usually a lot longer, because no one's going to buy on one call from a stranger. So you can basically speed up the sales cycle by actually getting more face time with the prospect before you meet with them, so they already know who you are, they already think of you as an expert, and they already think of you as basically just higher in the market, which is very important. It's how the prospect perceives you before meeting with you, which is ultimately the most important thing. But hopefully that makes sense in terms of what you need to do just to build system proof. Now, for pricing, I would keep it very simple if I was a beginner and I started again. For whatever solution you were doing, I highly recommend just doing a small setup fee and then doing a performance basis on the back end. And the reason we want to do that is because we can leverage the performance part of your pricing in the front end marketing, which is going to make it a lot easier to get appointments. Because when I started, I went 6 months without being able to book a single appointment because I didn't have a no risk offer. Basically, I wanted to just get money upfront, and that prevented me from actually booking appointments, because I didn't understand these 3 fundamental things. Like, here you are with this idea that you should have, which is your offer that we need to present to the market, because the only way you're going to get actual results is by getting data, improving it, tweaking it, and eventually you'll find a way of booking appointments. But if you want people to roll you money, you need to understand cognitive biases, which are systematic errors that humans have when it comes to decision making. So for example, here is your prospect. Here you are. You want to send an email to them. You want to send an SMS to them. You want to cold call them. It doesn't really matter. You're just presenting stimuli. You're presenting words, right, in front of them. And if you do this correctly, they will roll you money and they will book an appointment with you. But you need to understand cognitive biases. So one cognitive bias is the loss aversion bias, basically stating that the pain from loss in anything is way, way, way greater than the pleasure from gain. Meaning, if I were to give you $100, you would be X amount happy. If I were to take that $100 away, it's statistically proven that you'd probably be double as unhappy. And that's just humans, right? That's just how we're made. So what that tells us is we need to leverage the no risk premise in the actual offer. Otherwise, you're just never going to be able to book appointments. Because humans hate losing. So that's the first one. Next one, social proof. If you're doing Facebook DMs, if you're doing Instagram DMs, you need to have good profile positioning. You need to have followers. You need to have assets, whether that's around, your system proof. But very important, that's another cognitive bias. And there's about 20 different cognitive biases. Another one is decision fatigue, which is going to lead me on to my next point, because it's probably the most important thing. But this basically states that the more noise prospects get, the less or the more silent they become. Because when someone has so many options in front of them, most of the time they're not going to take any of the options. So this tells us that we need to target people or business owners that haven't been messaged too many times before, which I'll show you how to do in a second, using some secret tips that you probably haven't thought of. But these are just 3 out of 20 that you kind of need to learn when it comes to appointment setting. But hopefully this makes sense. So you should have a niche. We're almost 9 minutes in. You should have a burning pain point, or an idea of what a burning pain point is in that niche. And you should have these things already done. Like, the setup fee could just be $500, and then you could take, let's say, 20% commission or 15% commission, something like that. Don't overcomplicate it, guys. Don't overthink. Just take action. Now, you want to find underexposed leads. So as I said, we're going to be working with home service companies. So what I would recommend doing is finding cities in your country that haven't been targeted heavily. So I just asked ChatGPT, give me some low-key cities in America. And once again, you can see it gave me a bunch of cities. So if we take, let's go down. Let's take Maine, for example, or this, I don't really know how it works. Is it a county? Is it a state? I don't know. I'm from the UK. I'm not that smart when it comes to geographical stuff. But Maine, apparently, from ChatGPT, what it says is as a cold climate, therefore there's lots of heating and roof repair work. And the tech hasn't really caught up. There's not many digital marketing agencies in that area. I could be wrong. But if we just use a scraping tool, so what I would recommend is using my one. I built this for a reason. It's very cheap. You get 100 free leads, which is why I wanted to create it, just because you can get started for free. And I want to just help you guys. So obviously, yeah, click that button, start for free, or jump into the pay plan, whichever one you want. But once you have it, you can very easily then just search for the thing that you want. So if we search for HVAC and we search for, let's say, 0 to 10 employees, very simple. We want to make it so we're actually targeting smaller to medium-sized businesses. Obviously, once you have developed, clients and you've gotten fulfillment and you've been able to do that, sure, you can increase the size of the organizations. But if you want the highest owner pickup rate when you're doing cold calls, go for smaller companies, obviously, because the owner is the one typically running everything. So that's just what I recommend. Obviously, for the limit, you can put this as whatever you want. Then once again, we want to use what ChatGPT told us right here. So you can see, if we just go for Maine, just click in Maine, obviously. So Maine, you can see, if we do United States, we have it right here. You probably could do, I don't know, I don't want to pronounce that because I'll probably get it wrong and you guys will make fun of me. But yeah, just do 50, just click search, boom, you're good to go. You're going to get underexposed leads because we've used the geographical part, which is cities that haven't been targeted too heavily. We've used a new tool, which is my one, to essentially get underexposed leads that haven't been offered this type of service before. So you can see, just like that, you're going to get 50 leads, 100 leads, 500 leads, whatever you want. Obviously, if you're going to get quite a lot, you need to get the pay plan, which will give you 3,000. But nonetheless, I'm not here to pitch you. I'm just here to help you. So once you've done that, download it, and you'll clearly see that you'll have a CSV very neatly laid out. And then from this point on, what I did was I simply, if we go back here, actually, now we've done that, we need to basically automate outreach as soon as possible because I don't want to make this video too long. Here are the different channels that you can do. So for SMS, you could obviously do it manually. If you have no budget, let me just remove this. If you have no budget, no working capital, just send them a message on your phone. I'm not even joking. WhatsApp them on your phone. When you don't have capital, you have to make up for that with sweat equity, which is your time, basically. And that's just how world works. So yeah, Go High Level is typically good for sending SMS. Ideally, just get a toll-free number. You can get a local one, but you need a LLC if you're in America. But obviously, WhatsApp outreach, you can do that in High Level, I think, for $10, $11 a month. For Facebook DMs, if you want to automate it, you could use Messenger Flow. For Instagram, auto leads for cold emails, instantly, or smartly.ai. And I'll put this whiteboard in the description, so you can basically just go to these software tools if you want. But once again, if you have no capital, just do it manually. I'm not even joking. That's what I would be doing. Because once you find something that works on a micro level, you can then scale it up with automation. And I think that's the best use case of automation, in my opinion, is to automate what's already working. There's no point spending a bunch of money on cold email inboxes when you've never even booked an appointment through cold email. It's you wouldn't just start running a marathon if you've never ran before, or you wouldn't start spending $1,000 on ads if you've never made ads work on a micro level. It just doesn't make sense logically. So start small, try and find a way of getting responses from these business owners, and then you can start to scale it up once you're getting clients and you have more money to reinvest. But essentially what I did was I just uploaded these leads into, let me just show you. So I went into my High Level, I went into contacts, and I basically just imported some leads. So you can see here that we basically have, these ones are perfect. So yeah, very good. You can see. So yeah, I just imported all of these leads basically. I'll probably blur it. So I just imported all of these leads. Now I'm probably going to blur this because obviously I don't want to leak any personal information. But what I can do is very easily just select these leads. So obviously you could do this manually, but there's too many. So I'm just going to select probably 100 and put them into a cold email sequence that I created right here. So if I go here, just to show you what I'm working with, And I'll probably do cold emails as well. I may send out some LinkedIn messages, and I'll just show you what I get as responses and stuff. Obviously, I don't have too much time to actually book appointments, deliver for clients, because I do have things to do on my end. But hopefully this video is just insightful for getting started and getting your first client, right? So all I did was just create a workflow in HighLevel. Honestly, you can just do this manually. The first SMS, I said, hey there, I came across their business name. Am I reaching, let's say, the contact owner name by any chance, right? We just want to get a simple response. Once you do that, it should wait. It's going to wait for the contact to reply, hopefully. If they don't respond, then it's not going to do anything. I could obviously add an SMS here telling them to check the message above, but it's cold SMS. I don't really want to, I don't want to hit them up too much, because it's not like a cold email sequence where you can just hammer follow-ups. It's like you don't want to be doing that to someone's phone. But if they do respond and they say that they're the owner of the company, then it's going to go in with the offer. And this is what I said, this is what I tweaked in ChatGPT. I just said, cool, we're partnering with home service owners like yourself to turn missed calls, which they should understand that's a problem, into booked jobs using an AI sales rep on performance only. Would this be valuable at all? So this should work, because we have a bit of resonance here by saying who we're working with. We basically have the problem we're solving, so we're turning missed calls into booked jobs. We have the shiny, attractive part, which is AI, which everyone knows. That's just incorrect. So AI sales, we could put using our AI sales reps on performance, and obviously with the low risk to utilize loss aversion. So we're basically just making sure that we have all the correct parts to the puzzle, basically. So once you do that, we can save it, and then we can basically put leads into the actual workflow, which is what I'm going to do in 2 seconds. So give me some time. So once you've got your leads downloaded, you can go to your CRM. If you can't afford a CRM like HighLevel, don't worry. You can just do it manually. Just text them on WhatsApp or SMS or whatever that may be, cold emails, Facebook DMs. Just get busy having conversations, because the more conversations you have, the more money you're going to have. So what I'm going to do is just import the leads that I've downloaded from apexscrape.com. So you can go here, you can just click import contacts. Now I may have to blur this because I don't want to leak anyone's information, which makes sense, and hopefully you understand that as a business owner yourself probably. But if I go here and I just say I want to import contacts, very easily I can just click next, and I'll show you the exact SMS copy that I'm going to be running, and I'll be giving you the actual data maybe in like 24 hours from now, so I'll give them some time to respond. But I want to be walking you through the entire process, and I may send some cold emails as well, which would be sweet. So yeah, I'm just going to upload the list that I just downloaded. So you can see this one, I believe. Yeah, so this was almost 10 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago. And I think, is this the latest one? No, this is it. So this was 2 minutes ago. So let's upload that. Click next. We want to select a tag to be able to, obviously make sure we can identify them. But first, we want to make sure that we have the fields mapped. So this is just allowing us to add personalization in the actual outreach. So this is really important, because you never want to send like unpersonalized outbound to people. It's just rude. So here you can see we have the, oh no, this isn't the actual business name. This is just their like role essentially. So title. So you can see our software only gives you like decision makers, which is super sick, because usually when you would use like another lead scraper, you would get like secretaries, you would get, not decision makers, but you can see you get the project manager, you get the CTO, you get the office manager. Really, really important data that you get using Apex Scrape. But once you have done this, so I'm just going to map the business name. So let's just put business name here. Very simply, you should be good to go. You don't need to import their LinkedIn. I may actually send some LinkedIn messages as well, but this is fine. We'll do websites, and then that's the final one. So let's swiftly move on to the next part. So don't import those columns that we can't map. Add a tag. Now I'm going to select a new tag. I'm going to call this HVAC. So I don't know if I can actually create a new tag right now. Oh no, I can. Let's do HVAC cold leads. So let's just select that. Give it a second. Boom, good to go. Confirm, boom, start bulk import. So let's give it like 30 seconds. You can actually go to bulk actions and see what it's doing. So you can see here that it's just doing, it right now. 30%, it's done. And I'm just gonna pop these into this this SMS sequence that I'll show you right now. So if I go here, I've already built this because I want to save as much time as possible and I don't want to waste your time. But obviously you could just send this manually. So if you can't afford a CRM like High Level, just send it manually, right? Whether that's through SMS, whether that's through Facebook DMs, it's the same like process, right? For cold emails, you would just go straight away with your offer, but for messaging, I would recommend just getting a yes under your belt. So once again, that's like the confirmation bias, or the I can't remember what it's called, but it's a bias where once people take a small action or do something, I think it's the commitment and consistency bias. So if we say something like this in the first message, like, "Hey there, I came across your business," and once again, that's personalized. "Am I reaching Charlie by any chance?" We just want to get a yes. That's as simple as it gets, right? Once they respond, it's essentially going to wait to see if they responded to the SMS, which you can see. And then if they did respond and the condition was yes, so if they responded yes or yeah or correct or something along those lines, it will basically then pitch the offer. And it's the same with like Facebook DMs, it's the same with LinkedIn. You can use a very simple one sentence offer, and that's what we built earlier. So you can see, we said, "Cool, we're partnering with home service owners like yourself to turn missed calls into booked jobs using our AI sales reps on performance only. Would this be valuable at all?" You can see here that this is perfect because we have who we're helping, which will help resonate. We have essentially the problem we're solving, so we're turning missed calls into booked jobs, which is amazing because that makes them problem aware basically, or maybe they're already problem aware. We have the shiny, mechanism, which is AI in this case, using our AI sales reps, and then we have the loss aversion bias. So we're basically just putting all the pieces together in a single like sentence or two to make it easy to read, simple, and hopefully we'll book appointments or at least get positive replies. So once again, let's just check if the leads have been imported, and I may have to blur this because I don't want to like leak anyone's information. But if we just do tag, tag is HVAC, so boom, HVAC cold leads. We're going to click apply, and you can see that we have not that many. I'll probably get some more, but let's just import these first and foremost because I think we can get responses with this. Because as I said, the size of the organization is quite small, so it should be the owner that we're actually reaching. So if we do these, but once again, if you were to do like 200, and I wouldn't recommend doing more than like 50 SMS a day to start, maybe 100 SMS a day, because as I said, you want to find something that works on a micro before you scale it to a macro level. But let's just click add to automation. You can see that we can call this whatever we want. Boom. Workflow type is going to be the HVAC and home service SMS workflow. And then we can send right now, to be honest, like the time. Yeah, the time's fine. It's like afternoon in America or EST. Not that I know whether Maine is on EST or not, but you can see that we've sent that to 29 contacts. So if we go into automation, we go here, and obviously you can see total enrolled 29. Now this would be so much more powerful if I had like 290, but first of all, I don't want to just waste my own money on this because I'm not going to like hop on appointments with these guys. I may maybe push them to someone I know in the same niche that can help them, but just so I'm not wasting anyone's time. But you get the point. Like, I don't have time like you guys have time. I'm just making this as a video to hopefully prompt you and hopefully for you to take action. Now you're a bit more confident in what you're doing, because you shouldn't really overthink this. You should need to get started with having conversations with people in your niche, and the more conversations you have, the more money you're going to make. So you can see that we have officially sent those, which is perfect. And to be honest, we just send an email as well. So if I just go here very quickly, this will be the last thing that I'll do. Okay, so let's just save that, and let me just show you what I created for the email sequence. So for the subject line, once again, I just want to provoke as much curiosity as well to get them to click on the email. So message for Charlie, like that provokes curiosity. They want to know what it is. And then I said Charlie, comma, so provokes more curiosity to actually open up the email. And then I said noticed their company name in the main area. You seem to be running smoothly. We're actually partnering with home service owners like yourself to turn missed calls into booked jobs using our AI sales reps. I'd be more than happy to set it up for free, as I'm confident it will take your business up a level. Do you think this would be valuable? Let me know, Charlie. So once you have saved that, you can be good to go. And obviously you could use instantly, which is what I would recommend. Like, I'd use High Level because it's way easier for sending like lower quantity emails. As long as you set up a dedicated domain, as long as you've warmed up the domain, as long as you've had the right DNS settings when you do cold emails. I don't actually recommend cold emails for beginners because there's so many more moving pieces to it, but I just wanted to show you what I would do to get a client as soon as possible. Yeah, so obviously you would want to add at least 7 follow-up emails. And I'm not even exaggerating, at least 7. If I look at some of the cold email flows that I've given to members in the past, I literally give them the most insane cold email sequence. So if we check this one out, you can see how many follow-ups we do. So they get this as a template. So all you need to do is just tweak it. But that's 10 follow-ups, and that's the minimum that I would recommend because it takes on average 5 touch points in the B2B space to even get a response. So yeah, I'll probably come back in like 12 hours from now and tell you if we've got any responses. So it's Saturday morning. You can see the time at the top right. It is 11:30 a.m. and we actually got quite a lot of responses. I was meant to record this video yesterday, but I got a bit busy and kind of forgot. But yesterday morning, which was Friday, I did put some more leads into the CRM. So more leads into the email workflow, more leads into the SMS workflow. I only did about 100 or 200, I can't remember, but that resulted in quite a lot of responses from prospects via SMS. Now, obviously not all of them are positive. Some, are asking to opt out, some things like that. That's inevitable. Every no is you getting closer to a yes, essentially. But if we look at some of these responses we got, because as I said, I want to be as transparent as possible, and I only had about an hour to do this, bearing in mind. So I only had an hour to collect the leads, to put them into the workflows. So I am thinking of making maybe a longer YouTube video where I take one of you guys and actually like do a full campaign, try to get you your first client or maybe a community member. And I think that would be super sick, just because no one's really doing that on YouTube right now, where they're actually doing like campaigns, doing outreach live, and I kind of want to do that because I think it would be awesome and just give you guys clarity on what to do. But anyway, let's dive into the actual metrics from the campaign. So you can see I barely put any leads into this. I should have done like 370, not 37, but we had 95% delivered, 50% open rate, not awful, pretty standard for like a cold email campaign. 60%, 70% is like really good for cold emails. We had a 1.5%, 1.45% reply rate, which is slightly low, and the bounce rate of 4% for cold emails, which is kind of average but kind of high. And I think it's because the email that I sent it on, I bought like a week ago, so I didn't warm it up and I didn't have the correct DNS records for it. So yeah, I think that's why it doesn't have like a 70% open rate and like a much lower bounce rate. But as a rule of thumb, like 1% bounce rate is like really solid, 2 to 5% is pretty average, and then 5+% bounce rate is like pretty high, like something's wrong basically. So yeah, not awful, but we could make that better. And I think it's just the domain that we sent it on. And I'll show you the response in a second. This was an SMS workflow, so about 60% delivered, which is pretty solid, because usually when you're dealing with like local businesses, you run into a lot of landlines and not actual mobile numbers. So this is pretty solid that like 60% probably landed to their like actual number. Or I believe that's how it works. And then 50% for SMS right here. So in total, we didn't do that much volume. So let's dive into some of the responses that we got from prospects. So you can see this was my first SMS message at 4 p.m. I think Friday, that's June 6th. And I basically said, hey Mark, quick one, we're partnering with local roofing companies in Charlotte to get more booked jobs on 100% commission. Would this help at all? And obviously it's not ideal that we have this here, but it's what it is. And I also sent an email because I put them into the SMS workflow and the email workflow. But this is just some email copy that you can maybe pause the video and take for yourself, because as I said, I want this to be as transparent as possible and just to help you as much as I can. So, hey Mark, noticed their company name in the Charlotte area. You seem to be running smoothly. We're partnering with roofing companies or roofing owners like yourself to get more booked jobs using our AI sales reps. And then just some loss aversion right here. Here's what he responded to the message. He said, have them send you top lead in Charlotte and we will pay them $200 if we sell it. So basically he'll pay us $200 if we can just get him a job. So I don't know how high ticket that job is, but if I was a beginner, just like you watching this video, and I got a response like this, which is, I guess, some positive engagement, like he's obviously wanting more jobs, that's why he's offering us $200, but this is the perfect opportunity just to call him up and be like, hey Mark, I got your message, we spoke on email and text, I can get you more jobs, would you have 20 minutes to chat later this week? Just something simple like that. But you already have a touch point, which is what I like about this kind of funnel. It's not like you're just cold calling, where there's like no report, there's no touch points, and it's just hard. Whereas with this, I feel like if you send an SMS, you send an email, they respond just with something like this, even though it's not crazy, it's nothing, amazing, you haven't just made money, but it's, a touch point. And when you call them up, he will probably recognize or at least be familiar with the text message that you sent him and not just totally in the dark. So I think that is what I would be doing if I was a beginner and I needed to sign a client, whether that's for $500, $1,000, as soon as possible. This is how I would do it. So hopefully this is, valuable to you guys. But long story short, if you get any positive replies on Facebook, on Instagram, SMS, email, just call the business up. It's going to be so much quicker in terms of the sales cycle. And then once you're on the appointment, you can always try and snag a setup fee. That's what I recommend doing. So if I just got them on an appointment saying, hey, let's just discuss details, I would then say, to set up this voice agent, we have to pay software like Vapi or Simflow. Do you mind just covering the cost for it? It's going to be $250 or $500. And then boom, you've got a setup fee and you've got the commission when you actually convert inbound leads for him. So yeah, not bad. And I actually did some follow-up emails. I did one follow-up email. So I did one follow-up email right here. I basically said, so I actually did one. So that was just one response. We had another response from Robin. So I basically just said the same thing in terms of straight to the point. And I know I said earlier in the video to do like an opener saying, hey, am I reaching Charlie or whatever? But I didn't really have that much time to respond back. So I just wanted to go straight in with the offer right here. Long story short, we reached someone called Rosie from the company. And then she said, yeah, I'll talk with my team. Common objection. This is going to be an objection you get a lot. But once again, if you were to just call them up, have a conversation, show that you're a human being, you could easily get them on the appointment. I basically just said, hey, Rosie, great to meet you. And sure, that's totally cool. It's completely performance only. So I want to just mitigate the risk because in her brain, in her psyche, she's going to be thinking, I don't just want to lose money for the company or I don't just want to spend money on this complete stranger. So we're trying to just build trust by having a really strong offer to get them on the call. And then once you're on the call, as I said, you can maybe try and get a setup fee, build rapport, and go from there. But yeah, once again, common objection. I would just call them up at this point. But once again, I don't have an agency to be able to actually offer them the services, but that's what I'd be doing. So hopefully that makes sense. Once again, similar thing. I think this was just a automation. Obviously, there's some place which is quite good on their end because they're not going to miss too many leads. But once again, do email follow-ups. Same with this. And then, so moral of the story is if you were to do this every single day, whether that's 100 emails, 100 SMS, or even 50 SMS, 100 emails, just like what I've shown you, you will get positive replies. You'll get 1 or 2 people who are interested. And if you do that every day, that's like 7 to 10 kind of engaged prospects per week, which you'll be able to get as a client, at least one of them. So hopefully you found this video valuable, and let me know in the comments if you do want to see that video where I maybe help one of you guys either in the community or one of my subscribers to actually get their first clients, maybe then scale to 5K a month. I think that would be super interesting. But yeah, let me know in the comments. But yeah, as I said, repetition and desire, those are the only 2 things stopping you from making money online. And as I said, if you just follow what I showed you in this video, you'll get positive replies, you'll get opportunities in the pipeline. You just need to take action. You need to, not be scared and just go for it. Just start having conversations with people in your niche, like what I've shown you, and you'll be good. So take it easy, guys. Subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. And I'll put links in the description to what I use in terms of the lead scraping software, as well as the free Go High Level that we offer in the community. So yeah, take it easy, guys.